You know what's wild? Most burner phones are easier to track than your regular one. Even if you pay cash, even if you never call anyone you know, and even if it stays in airplane mode, it's still whispering, and someone's listening. In this video, I'll show you how disposable phones leak your location, build your pattern of life, and quietly connect back to your real identity without you ever touching a keyboard. We'll break down real cases, surveillance tools, network exploits, and the habits that actually help keep you off the radar. And if you want my full burner OPSEC checklist, the step-by-step setup that I use to actually stay off the grid is free below. I spent 15 years in cybersecurity nerding out over privacy. What you're about to learn will change the way you see every device you carry. A guy walks into a gas station, drops 30 bucks in cash and picks up a prepaid burner phone, just like this one. He never registers it, doesn't sync contacts, and doesn't touch Wi-Fi. He powers it on a few times and then tosses it in a drawer. But 3 months later, the cops show up at his door. They didn't hack him, crack his messages, or decrypt a thing. They just followed the signals. Tower by tower, ping by ping, the network tracked him down. And that's when it hit me. A burner phone's absence of everyday chatter doesn't hide it. It highlights and paints a target on it. You think a $30 prepaid phone makes you untouchable? That's the myth we've all heard. Somewhere between The Wire, Breaking Bad, and old Reddit threads, burner phones got this reputation of off-grid, untraceable, and no strings attached. Grab one from a corner store, pay in cash, and boom, you're a ghost. Except you're not. That little plastic rectangle doesn't keep you hidden. It makes you obvious. It shouts your location, your movements, and your behavior to every tower you pass. Here's the part nobody warned us about. The same things that make a burner disposable also make it trackable. While everyone was trying to stay off the grid was learning how to track better. So what's really going on behind the scene? Let's get into it. Every phone, whether it's a brand new iPhone or a dusty old burner, has a signature. Two, actually. One's called the IMEI, that's your device's fingerprint. The other is the IMSI, that's tied to your SIM card. Every time your phone powers on, it sends both of those to the nearest cell tower. No call or text, just turning it on gets you logged. And those towers remember. They track things like 10:42 a.m., phone pinged here, 11:18, same device, new tower. It doesn't matter if you're using Signal, a secure operating system, or an encrypted app. This has nothing to do with what you say. It's about the fact that you're there. And being there is enough. Now here's where it gets grim. Not all towers are real. There's tech out there called stingrays. These are fake towers often used by law enforcement. Your phone sees one and connects automatically thinking it's just another carrier. You think you're on Verizon, but you're really hooked into a black van parked a block away. You don't even have to use your burner. If it's powered on within range, it's giving you away. It's like walking through a crowd while someone silently scans every face and yours lights up. My burner OPSEC checklist breaks down every traceability point from first tower ping to disposal. So what happens when the system you're relying on to stay invisible is the very thing that's watching you? Maybe you're thinking, all right, but that only happens if you mess up, right? Let me show you what happened to the ones who didn't. Take the Gilgo Beach case. He was a suburban architect, a husband, a father, living an apparently normal life in Long Island. Behind the facade, prosecutors say he was a serial killer who used burner phones to contact victims and arrange meetings thinking the anonymity would protect him. He was precise, cold, calculated, and he used multiple burners, never registered them or used his name. He never made calls to known contacts, and still, they found him. Not because they broke his encryption or intercepted his messages, but because they pulled the tower data. Each of his phones, burner or not, which he used a new one for every victim, hit the same clusters, his house, his office, and his usual routes. They didn't need to catch a mistake, his patterns gave him away. Then there's Melvin Skinner. He was a trafficker who thought a prepaid phone kept him safe on the road. The DEA tracked his movements in real time without a warrant. The court said it was legal. Why? Because once your phone pings a tower, you've already forfeited your privacy under the law. Paying cash didn't protect him. It just delayed the timeline. And then there's the front line, protesters, people trying to stay safe with clean phones. They don't have contacts or sync data, but the IMSI catchers are already waiting. Fake towers silently sweeping the crowd for device IDs. Entire rallies get logged without anyone saying a word. It's the same pattern every time. People trying to stay invisible, People following the burner phone playbook exactly how it's taught, but they're still caught. So if even the careful ones are getting profiled, what's happening to everyone else? Let's zoom out. Imagine looking at your city from above. Every tower is drawing a ring around your phone. A soft circle of this device is somewhere here. If you have one tower, that's a guess. If you have two towers, it starts narrowing down your location. But if you have three, now they've locked in your location. That's tower triangulation. It works without GPS or permissions, just math. Now imagine you've got two phones. One's your main and the other is your burner. They're totally separate with different numbers and there's no link, but they start showing up a few minutes apart at the same train stop, same gas station, same apartment building. The system doesn't need a manual connection. It looks at collocation over time and then it merges them. It doesn't see two phones, it just sees you. And even if you're super careful without SIM cards, calls, or texts, your phone's still leaking metadata. It's checking for safe Wi-Fi networks, it's pinging Bluetooth, it's letting background apps report analytics. You're not doing anything, and still, your phone is networking with the environment, with routers, beacons, and ad servers. Even a phone that never gets touched is still introducing itself to everything in range. It doesn't need to screw up in one big moment, it just leaks slowly and constantly until the entire pattern becomes clear. So if just existing in signal space is enough to get mapped, what's your next move? How do you operate in a world where even silence gets logged? If you're still here, congrats, because this is where things shift. At this point, you already know the truth. The phone network doesn't care what app you're using or how private your texts are. It only cares that your device is there, powered on, logged in, sending signals. Can you actually beat this? You can, but it's not about flipping a setting or downloading a new app. This is the OPSEC gauntlet. It's the part where privacy becomes a set of practice habits, not just wishful thinking. Rule number 1, set up in the wild. If you turn on your burner phone in your house, it's already tied to your location. And if your main phone is nearby, that's a giveaway too. So the move is this: power it on far from home, in a crowded place, a noisy location with tons of other signals. Think transit stations or busy public areas, but stay away from cameras. Ideally, you paid someone you don't know to buy the SIM in cash and never activated it anywhere familiar. Leave your main phone behind when you do this. If both phones travel together, the system will figure it out. Rule 2, isolation discipline. Airplane mode isn't enough. You need real silence. Turn off Wi-Fi, kill Bluetooth, and don't connect to any familiar network, ever. One slip, even for a second, and your cover is blown. Remember, your phone isn't just a tool, it's constantly broadcasting and listening. If you're not actively controlling it, it's working against you. Rule 3, purpose-locked use. Each phone gets one job, one mission. You turn it on, do what you need to do, and then turn it off. Then store it, ideally in a Faraday bag. That's not overkill, it's how you stop it from leaking while it's idle. You don't use this phone for anything casual. No scrolling, no checking the time, no quick Google search. Every time you touch it, you're making noise. Rule 4, geographic separation. You want randomness, chaos. Go places you don't usually go, mix up the times you're active, and never develop a pattern. The more unpredictable your behavior, the harder it is to connect the dots. You don't need to be invisible, just unresolvable. And that's when something starts to shift. When does this level of discipline stop looking like privacy and start looking suspicious? You're playing it smart, you're following the rules, and you're being careful, but then something weird happens. You get flagged. Why? Not because you did anything illegal, but because your behavior doesn't match what the system expects. You're using a SIM with no name attached. You're not bleeding out location data like most other people. Your device isn't constantly pinging ad networks. And now you stand out. Here's what most people don't realize. Using privacy tools can actually raise red flags. In some countries, using an anonymous SIM is banned. In others, encryption apps are monitored. And something as simple as carrying a Faraday bag can get you stopped at borders. The more deliberate your behavior, the more suspicious it looks to systems designed to scan for anomalies. And it's not just governments anymore. You've got ad tech watching too. Whole networks tracking your location, browsing, and habits. These companies don't want to arrest you, they just want to study you, predict you, package and sell your identity to the highest bidder. They don't care who you are. They care about where you go, what you touch, what you like, and what you'll buy. So when you step off that predictable path and your data goes dark, you're no longer invisible, you're interesting. And in a world obsessed with tracking everything, privacy becomes the thing that makes you stand out and look guilty. So now you're stuck with a bigger question. How do you protect your right to move through the world freely without becoming a target just for wanting to disappear? So here you are, still with me. This is the pivot point, because up to now, we've talked tactics, how phones leak, how networks watch, and even the most careful steps still leave trails. But once you know all that and you want to move smart, something clicks. The real upgrade is mental. The tools help, the techniques matter, but the shift happens when you stop thinking like a user and start thinking like an operator. You've seen the system in motion. You've watched metadata collapse under multiple identities into one. You've seen how routine gives you away and how signal presence alone is enough to flag you. And through it all, you kept asking, what's the next move? That's capability building. Because when you're thinking in tactics, not just tools, you're not carrying a phone, you're carrying an operating system in your head. So here's the real test, the one that locks in the level. If someone handed you a phone right now and said, you've got one chance to use this without leaving a trace, would you know exactly what to do? Would you know where to go, what to avoid, what has to be silent before it's even powered on? Would the plan already be in motion before your thumb hits the switch? If that question doesn't rattle you, or better, if it excites you, then congratulations. You have just reached conscious connectivity. You're playing your own game now. And if that rewired something for you, if it changed the way you look at devices, movement, metadata, share this. Send it with a friend clinging to burner myths, or to the one who still thinks turning off GPS is enough. Send it to the one who doesn't realize their phone whispers even when it's asleep. Because ghosts don't haunt the network anymore. They learn to navigate it. And if you're ready for the next level, we go deeper in every episode. Don't power on another burner blind. Get the OPSEC checklist now. 10 minutes of reading could save you months of traceability. The link's below.